Hello and welcome to this week's Chillax Weekly Show. We're on week 6 now, so getting pretty deep in. Well, maybe about halfway into the season. I'm joined by my much more handsome co-host Matt this week. Thank you again for Magic for jumping in last week as well. Obviously, did a great job.
As a temporary fixture, I would point out. Sneaky fucker coming in and taking my place. What the fuck?
Yeah, Matt was really happy that you fill in last week, and really good that you couldn't join us this morning. So he's a bit upset about that. I guess before we get started then with the Blood Bowl stuff, I believe someone went to a tournament yesterday. Can you tell me about that?
Well, I don't really want to talk about it too much, but me and Lee Bat, who's in this league, went to a doubles 40k event, so 1k each, combining to make a 2,000 point army. It was a local tournament, and actually it was a charity event looking to support the local branch of Minds, the mental health charity. He had Grey Knights, quite an elite army. I had Custodes, an even more elite army. So I was working on the kind of premise that nearly all of my stuff shoots and fights and saves pretty much everything except a 1. And the number of 1s I rolled during the course of the day was absolutely phenomenal. And we will touch back on my love for dice games and fuck the dice gods later when we talk about my result from this week as well. But
so you went try hard elves and you rolled some 1s.
Pretty much that's how it went. So actually, it was really good fun. Lee's first kind of 40k event, 40k game, and the 9th and 40k event for a long time. And despite the fact that we got hosed every single game, despite that, we still weren't good enough to be the worst. So we came second from bottom, so we didn't even get the fucking wooden spoon prize.
That's terrible.
So that sucked balls as well. But yeah, so not only have I been shit this week in playing Blood Bowl, but I've also been shit this week in playing 40k as well. So I think I should probably retire.
I've done one 40k event, and it was at Norman Cross, and it might have been 5 or 6 years ago now. So it wasn't 8th; it was 7th edition. Yeah. And I remember I had a Tau cheese list. I had
all the Riptides,
Storm Surge, and a double Riptide Wing.
Oh god!
And they all had Interceptor. And my first game of the day was against this 8-year-old child who was at his first
Who's taller
event.
than you then?
Yeah, first event, and he had basically got a Blood Angels Deep Strike list.
Yeah.
So his turn 1, he had a set of 4 scouts on the field, so he had something there. I didn't shoot them because I didn't want to end the game turn 1 for him, but I also forgot that A, I had intercept on every model, and B, I'm a scumbag. So my turn 1, I just literally locked in my feet or whatever you have to do with the Storm Surge, spread out my guys and just got them ready. His turn 1, he deep striked all his guys in, 0 of them landed. And this is a 2,000 point list. 1950 of it was deep striking, and none of it touched the table.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was bad. And I think that was the last 40k game I played, because I was like, I just feel disgusting.
Well, you should be ashamed with yourself.
It was bad.
But yes, so despite my best efforts to carry Lee through the tournament, because he was a liability, it wasn't my fault with my 7 models for 1,000 points. I kind of went a bit Dreadnought heavy. With the benefit of hindsight, may have not been the best choice, but fuck it, it was fun. But yeah, so I'm 40k battered and bruised, and I'm Blood Bowl battered and bruised. So it was a struggle to come out from under the duvet to talk about these things, but thanks for opening those wounds for me.
No, it's okay. I know you wanted to talk about it off air, but I just thought it would be great to cover it on the show, so thanks for that.
That's fine, you're a shit.
Should we jump into the results then?
Yeah, sure.
Let's have a look. So if I go to schedule week 5, And so my game first, obviously, I don't know why, but it just keeps putting me at the top. It just knows. Onion Flaps versus the Cripsburg Steelers. So this game ended 1-0. It could have ended 1-all, or 2-1, 2-0, or 2-2. Like, it was weird because the Ogres never came close to scoring through structured play. But they did nearly one turn, and they would have had I made a 4+ with a reroll I would have scored a second one. But they would have had another opportunity to throw teammate. So I think me failing that might have been a good thing, but it was a tough game. Obviously, whenever you play Ogres, there's lots of removals. And obviously, Big Floors are reigning champ, so he's not exactly like bad. So I've always said this. I think Ogres in the hands of a good coach are just as dangerous as a normal team. But I would rather play a medium experienced elf coach than a well experienced ogre coach.
Well, especially kind of 5 games in as well, where you're starting to get some upskilling and stuff like that. Coming in vanilla is probably the best time to play them, but
I still don't know. I still don't know because you've got fair enough, right? They're going to get a bit of guard, but they're already stronger than you.
Yeah.
But you might not have the skills to deal with the Noblars, which actually I feel like are the problem.
No, absolutely, and that's what I mean. In theory, I mean you might get some skill ups on your ogres from punching people down, but if you've managed to get a couple of Noblars are your consistent scorers and haven't died, or pick up that MVP, and all of a sudden you've got, things like safe hands and all of that kind of stuff on them, or sure hands, sorry, and all of that stuff on them. So you're almost guaranteed that they can keep hold of the ball, or even something like strip ball, where you can just gang up on them, gang up on your ball carrier. And that you don't need the knockdown. Then you'll take the push because I'll have the ball. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I actually, for the first time ever, had a blodge player be useful.
Yeah.
Because he survived multiple ogre hits with just pushbacks, and I'm not used to that. I'm used to them just rolling the straight power straight away, and then your blodge player dies. He did go down a couple of times, but I think if I look at overall how many times he was hit, I think the blodge was a good move there. I did think about sure hands, but then I think when I go against other teams as well, I think blodge will be just as important. I've got 3 rerolls, so it's not like I'm dying at the moment, but none of my ball carriers scored. The one score, so this is how close it was, because the other score that I didn't mention that it could have been was a 0-0, which it very nearly was. So I ended up so I turned him over on his drive, nearly scored, and then he turned me over on my drive, and it was the immediate turn after. Do you know the turn where you're like, oh, this is done, I'm just going to hit stuff? As I was about to click something, I was like, I think I can bounce the ball free with one of my mummies. So I was like, fuck it, just punched one of the ogres, he flew onto it, it bounced, double bounced the right way for me, so away from his players towards his own end zone. And then I had a white on the side, and he just ran around, picked it up, dodged away, and I was able to form a loose cage. And then he had to basically blitz and then try and make a 4-up dodge with an ogre, which didn't happen. But the fact that he's able to compete at I'm not a good level, a high level coach, but I like to say I'm decent. The fact that he could very easily have won that game says how good he is. And if I look at it, he's got quite a few wins. So he's 2-1-2, which for ogres isn't bad at all.
No, that's a solid turnout, really is.
Yeah, to be honest, that was better than my score last week. So he's done really, really well. Hats off to Big Floor there. Always comes on comms when you guys have a game as well, so that makes it more fun. So he gets to hear me crying every time he cazzes. The LOS as well. Oh my god. Did you know what won this game for me? I know we're still going on about it. I spent 80k before the game buying 2 zombies, and that won me the game, because if I didn't have those 2 zombies in the second half, I would have been down to 9 players, and then I would have just got crushed. But yeah, his LOS, he took out 2 zombies, one didn't come back, one regened, and he also nearly killed the minus armor mummy. I'm still debating what I do with that, but yeah, that was a bloody close one. Anyway, good game, Big Claw.
Yeah, definitely.
Next up, we've got the Hogwarts versus High Times and P-Towns. This is Jazz's, Woody's, and Crazy's Dark Elves.
Dark Elves.
From what I hear, not seen it, what I hear, very, very crazy game. And I'm not sure if it was a jammy win at the end, but I hear it was like a late score that decided that one. So congrats again. Crazy's obviously passed his bad voodoo on to Joey, and he's starting to pick up wings now on the reg, so congrats. Cool. Next up we got the Stonehorn Striders, so that's Battlehawks Ogres versus Mr. Ben's Lizards. What was left of that team, because that team was smashed. This is the double strength 3 Lizards.
Yes, the Saurus have been brutalised in that team, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. There was an interesting tactic. I hear a late Apotho on a loner. So, very interesting. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, 2-1 win there, so that's a really, really good result for Mr. Ben. I think Battlehawk is still winless, so he's got me to play this week, so he can probably turn that round. And I hear he's gone up to 6 ogres as well, which is just troubling.
That's a difficult thing to take on, the 6 ogre build.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, congrats there to Mr. Ben. I know he's had a really tough season, but he's toughed it out. He's got a big pair of balls. He's not complained, and he's rewarded for it there. I'm going to hand over to you for the next one.
I think we should probably just skip past this one.
No, I mean, like, that's the whole point, right? We give a detailed breakdown of our games.
Well, I feel that I'm owed a drink by Gridbug, because normally I like to be bought a drink before I get proper fucked. It was. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a dicing, because I've looked at the stats afterwards. That it wasn't a dicing. There were just some really key moments where the dice went against me. There was a handful of double skulls in that, but actually it doesn't take away. Gridbug played really fucking well, and in a similar way that I like to play Skaven. I haven't played Skaven much, but using the gutter runners kind of in a pack to kind of support each other and to make up for that reduced strength that they have. He's got one that had block as well, which I think it was the 3rd score. Stupid me hadn't realised that particular gutter runner had block, so when I managed to get a blitz in on him and threw up the double both down, when I had a re-roll at play and he was like 2 squares from my end zone, I'm like, I'll take the both down, that's fine, it'll pop the ball loose, and then of course I'm on my ass because I hadn't realised he had block because I wasn't paying attention, so that was a little bit annoying. I won the toss, received first, but despite sure hands, couldn't pick the fucking ball up, and his gutter runners came through, picked up and ran through for a good score to start for him. And I'm like, okay, 1-0's not too bad. I think that's right. Either way, he scored first, and then on probably turn 6, so the ball came up. Bounced badly for me, couldn't pick it up, fumbled. Oh no, that was the point where there was the pitch invasion on the kickoff. Honestly, Jesus fucking Christ. So, yeah, I received, fumbled the ball, he picked up, ran it in, scored. 2 turns to go. I'm like, okay, 1-0 down, it's not the end of the world. If I can get some pain in and inflict some casualties on him, then I might just be able to wriggle maybe a 2-1 win or a 2-2 draw, something like that. Kick off after the first touchdown, pitch invasion. Some of your players are stunned. 9 of my 11 players on the pitch, including the entire scrimmage line with all of my Tomb Guardians, ended up stunned on the floor. I had 2 players up and standing. I don't know whether he lost anyone. He might have lost 1 player.
It didn't look like it from the screenshot you sent me.
There was just nothing I can do. I tried to get and secure the ball, but obviously he just came flooding down and bundled me and managed to get it in. So I went in 2-0 down at half time. He received the ball, start of the second half, played it well, managed to get a running channel open, and his gutter runners came through. I think 3 of them in a little cluster came through and bullied their way through to score. As it was becoming evident I couldn't stop this 3rd touchdown, I'm like, right, fuck this. I'm not going to win the game on scores. So let's now try and sort of pound the shit out of him and at least cause some casualties. And if I'd had Jeff Bezos's millions and billions, I still couldn't buy a fucking POW or an armor break or a Kaz. So I'm pounding on him in a non-sexual way, and all I'm getting is pushes and you know, where I managed to get a POW and get him on the ground, no armor break. Tried to foul, no armor breaks. And he ran in 4 touchdowns against me. I think, in fairness, I think I got a couple of knockouts and stuff like that.
They don't count. They don't count when you're going for blood.
Yeah, I may have got a couple of like no effect type casualties, but certainly didn't inflict any perms on him. He played really, really, really well, and just outmaneuvered me and outplayed me. So yeah, really, really solid win for him. And you know, which meant he got some reasonable SPP. So I think he's definitely one to watch over the next few games. I think he's got the potential now of definitely ending up in the playoffs with the way his team's shaping up and the way he plays it.
Yeah, I'm getting worried because when I sort of bumped into Grid, not like a bad player, but like you could tell he was still like learning the game. This isn't a long time ago. This is what we're 5 weeks in. This might have been 7 weeks ago. Bumped into him in the CCL, and he had a human team that he had like 130 games on or something. Really cool to see people play that many games on one team, by the way.
Yeah,
but like wasn't the most experienced coach, and I think this is the first time he's taken Skaven as well. But it just goes to show with like Blood Bowl, you either get it or you don't, right? I know some people that have played it on tabletop for 15 years, and they still can't score a touchdown. They still don't know what they're doing. No, you can.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
You can not in that game, but you can. You understand the structure. You understand how assists work and stuff like that. Like there's a guy at our local club or our old local club. He's been playing it since the dawn of time, and he still doesn't know what a 2 dice block is. And that's fair. He plays 40k, so he's used to like easy games for kids. But Blood Bowl's a man's game, so it's good that he's developed this quickly, and it is becoming really, really clear that he knows how to pilot Skaven, which I didn't know if he would or not, because it is a jump from humans, and AV7's not kind, and it looks like he's done a really fucking good job.
No, definitely. Without wanting to sound like a condescending prick, the way he played those Skaven, I assumed that he had quite some experience with playing Skaven, because I don't think he made a bad choice at all through the entirety of the game, and was able to position his pieces in a way that counteracted the kind of the weakness of Skaven. I mean, the fact I couldn't break AV7 particularly well wasn't great, but particularly the way he was using his gutter runners, the way he's upskilled his 2 blitzers, is not what you'd expect from somebody who doesn't know Skaven. So he's really got a grips with that team. Certainly, he clearly has some sort of affinity for that team, and it's clicked in his head, and that was really evident. I felt, outside of feeling like fuck off Nuffle, I really felt I was playing an experienced Skaven coach. So the fact that he's not actually that experienced with them, he's really got to grips with them really well.
Yeah, I'm terrified now, because I was like, yeah, Skaven coach is new, so I'll face him late in the season. I'll probably pick up a win there. Now I'm like, I might get banged on 6-0.
the way he played with them, I genuinely thought that he's got a really good chance of being top two. If he doesn't get one of those brutal games where he gets loads and loads of casualties, if he can mitigate taking a load of hits on some of his key players and continue to upskill his gutters, it's going to make them really problematic late in the season, because they'll have things like wrestle and the stuff that will just protect them from injury and stop you being able to get the ball off them. And as I say, the way he uses them in the pack makes, you can't isolate them. It got to the point I was with, obviously the Khemri aren't great, and the Tomb Guardians, once the gutter runners are past them, you're never going to catch them up. But I was struggling to get, a decent 2-die block on his gutters towards the end, because he just positioned everything really, really well.
Yeah, I might actually go back and watch that one, to be fair, because it sounds like I need to start doing some prep work now.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be worth doing some research. If nothing else, just be careful. Watch the kickoff for the seconds after that first touchdown. Watch it near the toilet, because you will shit yourself laughing when all my fucking team just go, "Oh, for fuck's sake, we're going to have a lay down."
Oh god, that's brutal. I've had that happen in tabletop once, but the guy was sliding the dice. He wasn't rolling it. But hey ho, when you're friends with the guy that runs the club, you can do whatever you want. Anyway, next up we've got health and safety versus the Wieners. So this is Clockwork Liquids. I think that's his username. I'll double check in a second. Clockwork Goblins versus Deaton's Norse. Hang on, the dog's just going mental. So this was a 2-1 win for the Norse. I got a ton of messages after the game though from Deaton, basically saying that he scraped that by the skin of his teeth, and that Clockwork's a really, really good Goblin coach, and he knows how to play them. So again, that's another one you might look in your calendar and see you've got Goblins, but it's not going to be an easy game. I probably would have taken Joey's Elves at this point, because if you roll a power, he's going to concede. Then next up, we've got the Deadskins, so Lee versus the Skanks and Sorass. That's Crespo's
Lizards.
Yeah. I don't know if Lee talked to you about the game or not. I've got a couple of messages from Crespo about it.
He just said it was such a tight game.
Yeah, I didn't hear about the run of play. I just heard that the last touchdown came maybe last or second to last turn.
Yeah,
and he managed to squeeze it in. So good job from Crespo there again.
Yeah,
first ever. No, this is the second league he's ever played in. The first one was this league's second season. So he's not an experienced coach at all. He's played 0 games of tabletop. So he's coming along really well. I don't actually think he's lost this season. So for a brand new coach, again, like I said, Blood Bowl, you either get it or you don't. He's doing really well.
Yeah. Lee said it was a really, really close and enjoyable game, so that's good.
Nice. And then you've got the Zombies versus Sirius United. This is Necro, so no one really gives a fuck. But I think Magic won 2-1, but who cares? Let's go check out the leaderboard. Okay. So, first off, we've got the top 2, and these are the guys that are, the way that we're going to do playoffs this year. So let's cover this off now, because I've not put an announcement out. And we might have put an announcement out earlier in the season, saying we're going to do it a certain way, but this is how we're going to do it. So, top 2 are through. So they're definitely through to the playoffs, no matter what. Not right now. Obviously, if these guys tank a load of games, Magic, I know you try and argue with me on this. If these guys lose a load of games, then they're not through. But yeah, top 2 go through, and they get a bye into the semi-finals. Then the the remaining 4 coaches in the top 6. Hang on, pressing the wrong thing. We've got images disappeared and all sorts. So the remaining 4 in the top 6 will then go into a mini playoffs. So the person in 3rd will play the person in 6th, the person in 4th will play the person in 5th, and then the winner of those will then progress to either semi-final, take on 1 and 2, and then we'll get our final from there. So it's really hard when you've got like 14 players. Normally you run 16, in which case you can do top 8, or you'd run 10, in which case top 4 is probably enough. But 14 is like an odd number, so we may look to do something different for next season. I know we've got coaches that are interested in joining us, so maybe go to 16 and then split the divisions, and then we can work out something from there. We'll play with the ideas, but so tops.
Yeah, no, I kind of like what you've done there with that sort of top 2 go through then the subsequent 4 play for the other 2 spaces. I think that's a good medium ground. I know we spoke about earlier on in the season about whether it's top 8 go through and playoff. My feeling is even with 16, I mean that's just top half of the table, and that's not really, to me, that doesn't give a decent cut-off. I mean it's not, if you want, harsh enough.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that top 6 thing, it works quite nicely. It's not entirely dissimilar to the IPL, which my Calcutta Knight Riders just missed out on the title this week, which is a bit disappointing. Similarly
what's
with
that? What's the IPL?
Indian Premier League cricket stuff. But yeah, so you in effect you get a second bite of the cherry if you're not in the top 2 spots. You've got a chance to play off to get into the semis. So yeah, in effect, it does add another layer of playoffs, but that's quite nice for the players. And interestingly, obviously, it puts an extra game in, which means that they've got an opportunity to get some extra SPP to be able to challenge those guys in the top 2 spots as well. So
or get destroyed.
Or get destroyed and get the shit kicked out of you. But that's Blood Bowl. That's the risk you've got. Obviously, anybody who's got any comments, or if anyone's got a fucking brainwave and they want to stick it in the comments or the discussion on Discord, then let us know. But to me, I think you've come up with a really good kind of middle ground that means you've got to fight to get into the playoffs, and certainly you've got to fight to get into the semis.
Like with most ideas, this isn't my own. I've just stole it from someone else. So the credit can go to Magic, because this is what he's done in Death on the Pitch, which is his league. Literally just saw him post it. I thought, yeah, that's fucking good. Lift and shift, and here we go.
Yeah, well, wherever it's been robbed from, I personally, I think that just hits that sweet spot where there's enough to play for to try and get up into that top 6, even if you go up to sort of 16 or 18 coaches. But at the same time, it's not. You're not casting the net so wide of, well, I've just got to end up in the top half and I've got a chance of winning the thing, which to me just feels a little bit too broad.
Yeah, it's not like a participation trophy that kids get nowadays for just turning up. There is you won't be in the top 6 if you've not had a good season. Just the reality of it. The difficulty you get with long leagues, and this is a long one, right? This for some leagues, this is 2 seasons without a playoff in the middle. This really is due to length. And what you can struggle with is coach retention, especially if you're in 14th and you're hating it. It's very easy for those coaches to just stop responding to their DMs, just disappear. Oh, sorry, work's got really busy, because there's nothing for them to play for. And do they want to get shit on another 6 times? So I wanted to open it up, give you more than just top 4, which I think is what we originally said. And I'll also bear in mind as well, for those coaches that aren't going to make it, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to hit playoffs, but those coaches that aren't going to make it, this is an eternal league. So even if it's not going well now, it might go well next season. So I had this with Death on the Pitch. Season 1, I picked Nurgle. I knew I wasn't going to win Season 1. I even put it in the team bio. Right, we're not going to win Season 1. We're going to win Season 2. And the first 5 games, I lost badly. I got a little bit of SPP here and there. And then by game 6, I had just about the core skills that I needed to be able to just go even in games. And then I started picking up a couple of draws, a couple of wins. Season 2 comes round. I think I dropped 1 or 2 games in the regular season, and nothing in the playoffs. I smashed all those games as well. So if you are in one of those positions where you've got a slow burner team, don't worry about it. Even your team at some point, like Henry, then they're not terrible at the box, right? Because they have a strength advantage.
But the whole thing behind when we decided that this was going to be eternal and carry teams over into following seasons, that's the point at which I kind of went, okay, Khemri are okay, kind of vanilla coming out and kind of season one, and you might get a good run and MVPs might help you out and stuff like that, but I'm building them with season two in mind
Yeah.
to be able to get some block on the Tomb Guardians. Hopefully, I've already got picked up Mighty Blow on a couple of them. Maybe get the throw Ras and the blitz Ras with a bit of blodging going on, just to give me a much better chance in season two. So that certainly that was my thought process in picking Khemri for season one. I was hoping for mid-table mediocrity. If I get a couple of good results, I might be able to climb back up. But my placing in season one really was not my concern.
Yeah.
I want to be in the playoffs for season two, and that's what I'm building the team towards.
Yeah, you want the skills, right? I mean, we have talked about as an admin team, and we've spoke about it briefly on the weekly shows about what we're going to do for coaches that perhaps want to sacrifice this season and start going for their next season team. Let's say you pick something and you don't like it. Do you stick out the rest of the season here playing a team that you've got no interest in? So we are looking at in a couple of weeks giving some coaches some options. We just need to sort of pan out the finer things because we are looking at a swap out.
A transfer window, if you would, transfer window kind of thing. So to allow coaches to drop out of the team they're playing, particularly if somebody who's trying something new and they're like, you know what, the play style is just not for me. So in effect, you'd be at a disadvantage starting with a new team because you wouldn't have half a season's worth of skill ups.
Yeah.
And inducements are fine, but they don't offset a team with a good skill set.
Yeah, they're not 2020 inducements where it's actually better to be the underdog. The inducements in this are not good. Anything over 150 and you're losing out big style.
Yeah, absolutely. But what it would give you a chance, you could get half a season with a new team to be able to get it prepped for season two.
Yeah. I'm on the fence because I wanted to take Nurgle at the start of the season. I didn't for some reason. I was like, I'm going to try Undead, and I don't like their playstyle. So I'm really on the fence of... I think this is what we need to agree. If you swap your team out, do you forfeit your place in playoffs? And I know we've had a discussion on it. I don't think we've actually come to an agreement on it. So I think that's something we could maybe pick up in the admin today. But I'd be interested to know. But the whole lore, I don't know how many of you guys read any of the Blood Bowl books and stuff like that. I've read them all, like Death Zone and Rumble in the Jungle and stuff like that. It's the coach that enters the team, and the world of Blood Bowl is so backstabby and backhanded and things. It wouldn't be out of character or out of the fluff of Blood Bowl for a coach to fire his entire team and just send out a field of rookies because he was pissed off. So we're gonna look at options. There's a couple of coaches that have smashed up teams as well, so they may just want to restart. It won't be a perfect solution. It won't be a perfect solution. You're never going to get a perfect solution with Blood Bowl. Some coaches will be pissed off that their opponent gets to play a fresh team the following week, and that is something we have to consider. But at the same time, next season, how do we introduce brand new 1,000 TV teams into a league where teams have got 14 games? So it is a really, really difficult balancing act, and there's never a perfect answer that's gonna help everyone. But we will debate a bit more before we make the official announcement. But that's just kind of where our heads are at the moment.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's go through the standings after that absolute ramble from me. At the top of the chart, we've still got Show Me Magic and Vake. So well done to those guys. Obviously, Magic is playing a scummy tier 1 team, so it's more of an achievement for Deaton. It's really nice. I've played with Deaton in a lot of leagues now. He's played in every single one that I've run. And he's a really good coach, but I've never seen him perform this consistently. So really, really nice. Good job, buddy, to see you up there. And joking aside, I know Magic's playing a broken tier 1 team that even Games Workshop had to step in and fix. But yeah, well done, buddy. You've not dropped a game, and that is an achievement. So well done. Biggest shock for me in third, Gridbug again. Hats off to you, mate. 3 wins, 2 losses. Really, really solid record. I'm certain he was new to Skaven at the start of this. I'm certain he told me that. If you can let us know, Grid, I'm pretty sure you were. Followed by the next biggest shock, Crespo. So again, this is a guy that's played no tabletop. He's maybe played a season before this. Coming into this, if he'd played more than 10 games, I would have been shocked. So for him to be undefeated with a record of 2 wins, 3 draws, again, really, really good. So well done there, mate. Leabat and myself in a joint 5th. So we're both at 2-2-1. I'm pretty happy with my record. It wasn't going well to start with. I think I might have been 1-1. I think I might have been 0-1-1. And I've got 2 wins pretty much back to back. I think so. I need to go and check, but I'm happy with the turnaround of my season because it was feeling rough. Then it's 7th, Big Floor Pie and his Ogres again. Just an outstanding performance for him this season to do this with Ogres. Just really impressive. He's dropped 2 games now. Ours could very easily have been a draw. And if that's the case, he's way up in the table. He was top of the table for a couple of weeks as well, which again is just really, really impressive. Crazy and Jazz, both in at 8th. Both have had some hard games this season. Both have taken deaths on key players, but both are playing pretty well. The game I had with Jazz, again, I just got very, very lucky and fouled a lot. Mr. Ben in at 10th. Oh, actually, no, he's joined 8th as well. Shit, I didn't realise. Mr. Ben joins 8th. Congrats, Lou. You've done this with a broken team, so you're joint with some elf coaches there. So really good effort there, mate. Really good. And again, good job for hanging in there and not just throwing in the towel when your team got bashed up. Really impressive. Sirius in at 11th with his Necro. 1 win, 2 draws, 2 losses. I feel that we've not really seen the best out of Iron. I think he's got way more to come. He's a really experienced Necro coach, so I really wouldn't expect him to have that kind of score at this point. So I wouldn't be shocked if he's playing, give this, I'm not going to say 3 weeks. I think maybe he's going to need 6. But certainly in those last 2 weeks, I think he's going to be pushing for a playoff spot. He just needs to get a bit more development, but we'll look at the team shortly. Clockwork, again, jumping in, being an absolute hero, 1-1-3. So again, he's really adopted that record. So he's 0-0-1 at the moment. But, again, like I said, with the fluff of Blood Bowl, he's just stolen that record. That's totally fine. So, doing well there. Uber Spoons, again, joint 12th with the Goblins, is 1-1-3. I know you've had some dire games, but I guess that is early level Khemri. Let me just take those little vision points off. And then last but not least, our multiple season finalist, Battlehawk, holding up the table with his Ogres, 0-0-5. I know his first win's going to come, and it's probably going to come against me. But yeah, good effort there, buddy. Again, no complaints, no whinging about dice. So well done, dude. Appreciate it. How did we get on? Because we're about to jump into picks. How did we get on our first week? Because I don't think we announced that. Did we? Did we get scores? You're like, pass.
Our guesses.
Yeah, let's not include that magic.
Yeah, I came up with an arbitrary scoring process where you got a point if you picked the right person, and you got a bonus point if you guessed the right score, and we ended up at 4 each.
Okay, let me just add that on. So score, we went 4. What colour should we go? Should we go green? Fan of green. Let's go for that. Where is it? Score. It's up here. 4-4. We'll just put that in the bottom corner there. That'll do. Okay. And we'll keep that in for future. So if I put it into Twitch, it'll remember it next time I jump on. Okay, so I guess what I want to do here, I want to let you do the pick first on this one, because this is my game. So this is the Cripsburg Steelers versus the Stonehorn Striders. So let's look at the Striders first. He has 190k in the bank. Gulp.
That's a lot.
Yeah, he's got a Piling On Ogre, which I'm assuming he just has on autocast. And he has a Block Ogre as well. That is nasty. He's got Diving Tackle Noblar. He has Leader. He's got a player out, taken him to 13, but obviously it's no secret he's going to have another Ogre here, so he'll be at 14 players for the game, which is less than Big Floor had. 2 rerolls, but with Leader, so 3. He's got an Apotho. 0 Fan Factor Bloat as well, worth pointing out. So I should be winning the kickoff events, actually. I should get fame in this one, because I think I've got some Fan Factor. And yeah, so not a bad team, not massively developed, but I think the only thing I question here, this Piling On, I would have gone not Diving Tackle. I'd have gone Break Tackle. I'd have gone Break Tackle. Break Tackle on big guys, especially early, is fucking lovely. Because the counter to his whole team is I get 6 zombies, which I'll have, and I will just base him, and I will go and deal with the Noblars. And he can punch those zombies all he wants. He might remove a couple in the half. Regen will bring one of them back, and then I'll send another 6 zombies out, and he'll just 2 dice block them all game. He'll eventually get some double skulls, but he's got the rerolls to deal with that. That is really how I would tackle ogres as undead. I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but who knows. So yeah, I think Break Tackle here would have been nice because he can just jump away. When I put a zombie next to his a 40k piece next to 140k, he can just step back and then go and do something else rather than have to deal with it. And then my team, 1060, but again, some of that is gold bloat. So I've got a lot of gold to spend. I think he's just over 100 TV higher than me, so I am going to get some inducements. I might even take Igor at this point and just try and fucking keep my players alive. I've only got 11 players, so I've got a banged up mummy. I've got my normal mummy, still no levels coming into the 6 games, still no levels. So this shows you how bad my mummies are doing. I literally don't have a single Kaz with 2 Mighty Blow pieces after 5 games. That's crazy. I literally have an MVP. That is just fucking terrible. And that's why Mighty Blow is not the best skill, because when it doesn't fire off, it's useless. Then I've got TJ Watt, so he's block tackle, and thank God I've got some tackle going into this game, because I think he was the only person that was knocking stuff down last week. He's got Melvin, who scored our only touchdown, won the game for us, so he's got the 3 SPP there. Ben, a big Ben, got Kaz'd out just to miss next game, but he'll be back for next week. And then we've got Najib Harris, he's our block dodge ghoul. 1 block zombie, you'll notice I'm missing a block zombie. It died and regen failed, unfortunately, but to be honest, block zombie or no block zombie is kind of the same thing. I don't really care. I'm just sending them in, and to be honest, I could almost argue this is TV bloat. And then my sort of thing is here, right? I've got 180k. I've got 2 mummies as it is, but one of them's AV8. Do I replace the mummy so I get that extra armor?
AV back.
Yeah, and I could buy another zombie as well. So I would go up to the 12 players for the game.
With 12 players because your ghoul is out.
Yeah. Or do I buy 2 zombies, which would take me to 100k, vouching that I'm going to get at least a draw, and I'll definitely be able to buy a mummy after this game and just keep the AV8. Because in my head, I was like, right, I'll just keep that AV8 mummy for those 2 games, because after I've got through this game and I can replace him, he's not valuable to me anymore, so I can stick him in awkward places if I need to secure a win. If I need to
Yeah.
sacrifice a player, I can put him in. He's got to, deal with some stuff to do that. Or is the argument I need to get rid of him and get the AV9 one in there, because if I lose him early, I'm going to just get bullied around by 6 ogres. So I'm not actually sure what to do here. I kind of feel like the zombie spam is the way to go, because then I can foul, then I can mark up. How many zombies do I actually have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got exactly enough to base him, as long as he doesn't get any removals. If he does, I've then got to start putting in expensive pieces in front of him, which I don't really want to do. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, the decision's slightly easier because the AV8, I mean, it's still AV8. It's not awful, but he's not carrying any SPP. The worst case scenario is you leave him in, and then he pulls the MVP, and then it's a different decision when you've potentially got a mummy with...
I wouldn't give two shits. Even if he levels at this point, AV8 line piece. Unless he leveled and rolled strength. That is the only way I would consider keeping him. But I just don't think it's worth it. Although I don't play my mummies in the same way as I think other undead coaches do. I have them more. I don't have them on the line. I have them one back, and then I move them into the place where I need them to cause issues. So I let the zombies take the hits. So they're not getting directly hit all the time.
Yeah.
That job's going to the zombies. So I guess he's just a big zombie at the moment. He's almost just like a tomb guardian. Not tomb guardian, a flesh golem for me. But I'm not sure what I'm going to do there. I'd like to say that I'm going to beat Hawk. 6 ogres is a lot, but it means he's going to bonehead once a turn, which could be quite big for me. If he has this is what happened with Big Floor. He just looked unstoppable, and then he had a turn where he had 2 boneheads, and that was all I needed. So you only need to get past them. Once you pass them, you can just screen them off. So I'm going to say that I'm going to pick this win up. I'm going to say... I'm going to say 1-0, because I don't have a lot of ball carrying pieces, and if I lose those, that makes the game very, very difficult. So I'm going to say 1-0 over Hawk.
I'm going 1-1. I just think it's going to be one of those nip and... I think the Hawks team is getting to a point where it's just going to be a bit nip and tuck.
Yeah.
So... I
don't think that's out of the realms of possibility. I don't like the fact that I'm the first one to have to go against 6 ogres, but that's what it is. And Hawk is not a bad coach at all. I know he's 0-5, but he's made 2 finals in a row, so he definitely knows what he's doing.
Yeah. 1-1 for me, I think.
Fair. Next we've got Jazz's High Time in P-Town versus Gridbug's Tin Town Rats. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm just having a look at Jazz's team. I mean, it's all right. It's come back from perhaps not the greatest place. He's got a nice move buff on a lineman, but it's only a lineman.
So the things I'm looking at here, obviously he's got kick, which is great, but against Skaven, it
becomes irrelevant, really.
Yeah, the thing that I'm looking at is the dancer. Blodge, obviously elite, but he's got strip ball as well, which could be really, really handy. Because like you say, sometimes strip ball over tackle, because you're more likely to get a push than that particular POW. This is a good piece. The only thing is, I'm assuming that those Skaven are pretty well skilled. So he's got 0 cash in the bank, 2 rerolls. Got the Apotho now. Let's look at Gridbug's team. He was super keen. He got it in early. Okay, only 1 Blodge. But you'd imagine that's what he's going to carry on. And you basically... Well, there's a 50-50 chance of getting the ball out with the dancer, isn't there? So there's the 2 pushes and the POW. So it's not too bad. If he carries on something else, obviously those odds go up. And all he has to do is jump in. obviously with the strength advantage, if he just tags up, there's no guard in this match. So if he just tags up the key pieces and dives in, he should be okay.
Yeah.
But
I'm thinking probably 2-1 to the Skaven.
yeah, especially if this if the Rat Ogre like pops off as well. Like Rat Ogre's very good into elves because obviously the tail, he can just plow himself into a group of them, and unless they really commit to dealing with him, which again AV8 you could probably, that's a Rat Ogre's AV8. I shouldn't be too scared about my mummy. I shouldn't be too scared about him. But yeah,
absolutely. I mean, the thing is, if as long as the Rat Ogre doesn't get bogged down against the Tree Man, then it's fine. And if the Tree Man takes root early doors, I mean, in fairness, Gridbug did have a couple of turns with Wild Animal with his Rat Ogre, but it's not the same as having the big guy just cemented to the floor, and then you just play around him and you just move away. And the nice thing is with the Skaven, they've got a decent edge, so they can, if he takes root, then they can just dodge out away from him and just run around him. So it almost takes him out of the equation at that point. He uses the Rat Ogre well as a bit of an exocet as well. So yeah, throw it in for a cage, even if you get the push, but then you've got the prehensile tail to kind of bog the cage down a bit. And stop those dodges. So
yeah, and you can put tackle on it as well. If you use that, that's what I found Rat Ogre is useful for, breaking that first up cage, and then you can get your positional pieces in. Especially if Jazz is lazy and he sort of bases it, and there'll be lots of easy ways in there. But yeah, I like it. I love the Rat Ogre. I think it's a great piece. I think it gets better in Blood Bowl 2020. It does get better in Blood Bowl 2020, but I still think it's a good piece now.
Yeah. So what are you going for?
I got a question before I make my prediction.
Yeah.
Do you think the Wood Elves team would be better without that tree?
I see value in the tree, particularly with what we've got in the league, where you're talking all the ogres and stuff like that. There is a benefit of having that big guy to anchor the center of the pitch, that line of scrimmage. So I understand why it's there, but what it does do is it takes away from a lot of gold tied up in that. So I'm on the fence. I would, if it was me, I'd probably be playing with one, because I just think there's value to bogging the line of scrimmage down in that centre.
I love big guys. I love Mighty Blow, but I feel like when you take a tree, it takes you away from what Woodies are trying to do.
I think it's one of those ones where if you go early doors with it and take it in your starting lineup, then you can build the team as the season progresses, if you like, to a non-tree Woody team with the tree in it.
Yeah.
And then almost it is just that thing that you put on the line of scrimmage to try and tie up that centre area. And the downside of not having a big guy on the line of scrimmage, particularly with Woodies, with where they could be a bit brittle, is a team with a big guy or a couple of big guys just smashes through the centre, and the whole of the opposition can come flooding through, either carrying the ball or be able to then look to try and sack you in your own backfield. And I think that's genuinely a risk playing against this Skaven team, is that scope where he can put Storm Vermin out on the flank to try and stop the flank runners, and they've both got tackle. And then bust a hole through the middle with the Rat Ogre, and then the pack of gutter runners come flooding through and pin you down in your backfields on your drive, and you're not going to score.
Yeah.
So I would probably play with a tree, but I still think the Skaven are going to win.
Yeah, I would agree. Sorry, Jazz. I think probably. I think Jazz is going to score. I'm going to say 3-2. I'm going to say 3-2. I think this is just going to be back and forwards. None of them really played to stall, so I think they're just going to go for it.
Yeah.
And why not? It's more fun when you do it like that, right?
Yeah.
Next up, we've got onion flaps. So let's take a look at those. Okay. So they're back to full strength. It's a 16-man roster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ogres, just 5. 2 break tackle though, and I'll tell you the break tackle was hard to deal with. The diving tackle stopped a touchdown, so he's got some good skill ups. 2 rerolls, no apotho, although he can afford one, so I'd be shocked if he didn't take one at this point. Although he might just be saving up for the additional ogre. AV8 ogre, I did not get near him, so he protects that player quite well. I didn't get a shot on him all game. I think I might have blocked 2 ogres in the entire match. I just ignored them, to be honest. I don't know if that's the right call or not. Versus health and safety, so 8-10 goblins. I know they lost the player last game. 13 players, 2 rerolls, so a couple of hundred TV, I think, difference. Is that right? Oh no, maybe 300. Yeah, more than 300 difference. So there's going to be some shenanigans, maybe some bribes and a wizard, or you might even forgo the bribes and go for like a star player or something like that, or maybe you could probably get a couple of cheap stars and some bribes. The goblin, has he got the club?
Yeah, I'd potentially be looking at Chuck Hack in there just as a potential to take out one of those trolls, one of those ogres early doors.
I think you'll go Nobbler. I think you'd go Nobbler because I think Nobbler is cheaper than Hack, and it does the same thing. It's a blodge chainsaw. Oh, I can't believe they got rid of Nobbler for the new edition. He was like the star player. He was so cool. Sorry, I get a bit emotional about that. So yeah, what are your thoughts here? What are your picks?
I think this is really close. Because it's one of those ones where you've got more big guys but more brittle little people against less big guys but a little bit more resilience compared to the Noblars. But he's only got one loony, he's got a fanatic. You see, the fanatic's a big deal against an ogre team where they can't get out of the way of him very well as well.
Yeah, no block.
I'm going to go 2-1 to the goblins, I think.
Yeah, I was actually going to say my hot take on this one. I'm going to pick the goblins because I think if they load up on chainsaws, the ogres aren't scoring quickly unless they try and one turn. Which, isn't that reliable. And I know Big Floor's been quite unlucky with those attempts. He nearly got one against me again, but he failed to land him with a reroll. So I think if the chainsaws get going early, and if Clockwork is as good as at goblins as Deaton was saying, then he could be in trouble. I'm going to pick 1-0 to the goblins.
1-0 to the goblins. Cool.
Also, again with the 1 turns, anything you can do, they can probably do almost as good, but not quite.
Yeah.
Next up, we got the Deadskins versus the Hogwarts. This is a really interesting game because if you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I'd have picked Leebat without even thinking about it, based on how crazy the season had gone. Let's look at his team. So he's down a Blitzer, and it's an armor bust, but in replacement, look at the team value on that 1270. This is one of our bigger teams in the league now. He's got a Wrestle Witch Elf. He's got 2 doubles on his blitzers, which is just perfect. Yeah. He's got Mighty Blow on both of them, because Mighty Blow equals wins. He's got Runner, a Line Elf with, is that Hail Mary? Yep, so he can punt the ball if he needs to. He's got, sure hands on a liner. So even his linemen, he's built them up as positionals, which is quite cool. Nice looking team, 2 rerolls, no spare cash though, so any casualties taken. He did actually have bench as well. That's interesting. He had bench going into the last game, so that's quite a big one. And then let's go and look at Lee's team. I'm interested to see it. Wow,
I mean, Lee's 13-30 for Christ's sake.
So this is a clash of the giants. This is what happens when you play again. Look at Lee's team again. 5 games in, not a level on the mummies.
Yeah,
he's getting SPP on them. I still remember where that 2 SPP came from. But
because it still hurts.
Yeah, it does. It fucking really does. But yeah, he's struggling as well. I think the problem he's got now is he's got Spine Muncher just hoovering every bit of SPP. This guy is going to get 1 SPP a game passing to him. Him.
Yeah.
Hiccup. Yeah. But this guy's hoovering all the SPP, and these guys are just waiting for casualties, basically. And they either come or they don't.
Yeah.
A ton of zombies. How many? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So he's got double bench. Skeletons. I still don't take them, but I could be tempted at some point because Lee's taken them and he's doing pretty well on them. And I guess the extra movement might be nice. It might even be nice in my next game, actually, if I can keep the skeleton away from the ogre. But that's a big if. But yeah, nice team.
It's close, isn't it? What do you think?
I think I'm gonna pick Lee. Sorry, crazy. I'm gonna pick Lee because Adge 4 Blodge Ghoul. Oh no, wait, that's just an elf. No, this is different. That's just basically an elf out of the box. But it's worth 130k. Now, I think with the skills that he's got, if he can run a controlled game, I think the elves are really going to struggle because they're going to have to come into him and expose themselves to big blocks. The elves are going to be able to pick and choose their angles in, but at some point they'll have to commit, and eventually you're going to end up with, key pieces based up against mummies and whites and stuff like that. So I'm going to pick Lee here. I'm going to pick Lee, and I'm going to say 2-0.
I'm going to go with the warts. I think it's going to end up being a nip and tuck game, and I think I'm going to go 1-0. I just think that they're it's almost like they're designed to counter each other.
Yeah.
And Lee's due a shit game, and and after this weekend of his 40k shenanigans and having to carry him, I'm going to put him down for the loss just out of spite.
Fair. Yeah, that's going to be a banger. That'll be match of the week for me. Unfortunately, neither of them stream, so no one will see it. But I hope I get updates. Then we've got Yet to Be Defined. Oh god, versus the Zombies. So let's go look at Yet to Be Defined. There's Mr. Ben's lizards. 30k in the bank. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still got 6 Saurus. 50% of them are permed. He's got no skills on them. He's got 2 skill ups. He's got a sidestep and a guard. It's looking pretty fucking dire.
Yeah.
If we're being honest with ourselves, it's looking pretty fucking dire. He's got an apothecary now, which is good, but this is the worst start. Not I've ever seen, because I've had worse starts than this, and I've actually had a worse one in Death on the Pitch in their current season. But in terms of like casualties and stuff like that, this is the worst shape I've seen a Lizard team.
Yeah. Whereas Magic's got still a skill up to come on a werewolf. He's got a skill up to come on a white. So, depending on how those rolls go, then it's not going to be bad, is it? It's only going to make them better.
Yeah, he's going to be over 200k up as well.
Yeah,
which is past the point of it being useful. So Mac, you're going to end up with dodge on here. I think he rolled dodge on here, and I think in this case you'll probably from Magic. I think you'll see tackle because he knows he's going against skinks, and that's the smart thing. And Magic's a smart coach, so he's not going to be greedy and go mighty blow there. Because he's already got a mighty blow white actually as well. To be fair.
Yeah. It's a 2-0 to Magic for me.
I'm going 3-0. I'm going 3-0. Sorry, Ben. But he's got Claw, he's got Block, he's got Mighty Blow. I think this is going to be a really hard game. But don't worry, because in maybe 1 or 2 weeks we're going to have some solution for you.
Yeah. You'll be able to bin them off and get something new.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Feeling Your Mummy versus Sirius United. So a couple of teams lower down in the table. Let's have a look. So where is Feeling? There we go. So this is your team. Do you want to take us through it?
It's kind of been steady away, really. I clicked on the wrong thing and accidentally took leader on the skeleton when he rolled the double. I didn't mean to do that.
It's not bad, though.
I wasn't paying attention, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. But we'll see how that goes. I'm happy with how the team's shaping up, and I stand by what I said around. I'm building this as a season 2 team. I'm lucky that I've not had any Kaz's, or when I have had Kaz's, regen has pretty much 100% saved me.
That's nice.
Yeah, I've got. I need to try and get the other 2 Tomb Guardians at least, a hint of block or mighty blow. But things are not. I'm not unhappy with the shape of the team at the moment. I have been lucky, even in those losses, that I've not lost any of my upskill players. So I'm ticking along. I'm looking at potentially, depending on how this game goes, if I don't take any casualties, then I'll be looking for that extra reroll as well, so I can get a bit
5
reroll heavy.
rerolls.
That will, yeah. Which, not being funny, the way it went against the Rats, where I couldn't pick it. Mind you, the issue I've got is actually it was my throw rails couldn't pick anything up, and they've already got sure hands. So you've got
Yeah.
the free reroll, and they still fucked that away. So
I
it was,
would start. I know I'm not an amazing coach, but I wouldn't bother going for a 5th reroll because I think unless you plan on
well, it's
firing
the other
this
thing is,
skeleton.
well, the other thing is the Tomb Guardians. While they don't have block, they do tend to gobble the rerolls on the both downs.
I think you
Um,
go the other way, right? I think you go bench heavy, go up to
yeah,
14 players, and then
and
just
get some bribes and foul the shit out of them.
yeah. I think you need to go that route. I think 4
Yeah,
rerolls is a fucking crazy amount on any team, especially in this
yeah,
edition. You could argue in the new edition where you can spend multiple a turn that like
yeah,
heavy rerolls is the way to go because if you need something to happen, it almost always does. But
yeah,
I think if you had another 2 skeletons on here, this
yeah,
is a horrific team because you've got 40k bribes basically that can
yeah,
move around and kick stuff in the head. I
yeah,
think that would be. I think you need to go with this style of team, this undead Nurgle. I think you need to go big roster as soon as you can because you're
yeah.
not going to win the just skilled fights. You need to play
No,
dirty.
that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
Um,
The good thing about against the Sirius is they're wolf down. So thank fuck for that. I hate playing Necro almost as much as you do now.
it's fucking boring, and it really fucking is.
Yeah,
It,
he's got a solid line of scrimmage because he's got a couple of block zombies on there. Um,
yeah.
I hate ghouls, but there's no ghouls.
Yeah, he doesn't run ghouls. And to be honest, that's the one thing I've learned from playing Undead, right? The ghouls are the best players. They really
Yeah,
are. They really are. Everything else is just shit. But the
so
ghouls
he's
are
got
actually good.
150. So he's got 150k, so he could buy a ghoul to make up for his missing werewolf, I suppose, if he decides that that's the way to go. But I don't know. I would, frankly, I wouldn't play a necro team without a ghoul.
Yeah.
Um,
I think he needs one. He needs to outspeed you here because I think if you just line up, the one thing that I learned in last week's Death on the Pitch, I was playing dwarfs and I had no ball carrier against Nurgle, who were also down their ball carrier, and there was one skill up across both the teams, and it was Claw. And I
yeah,
realised that on its own, Claw doesn't do shit.
no,
You're still basically punching someone and you have to roll higher than average. I think this is why in the new edition it's way better balanced because Claw and
yeah,
Mighty Blow don't stack anymore. So you're always having to roll a decent amount to break the armor. So if you break it with
yeah,
Claw, you've still rolled well. And I think the only it's a Claw on a Strength 3 piece. He
yeah,
would have to commit so much to get a 1 dice on one of your Tomb Guardians. I actually don't think you worry about the Claw in this. You know, he might
no,
he might roll a crazy uphill, and fair enough, and that's probably the one that gets you. But I think in terms of if you just line these teams up, and this is why I think bench is going to be important. If you just line
yeah,
these 2 teams up, which I think is going to happen, I think you're going to win that punch off. You've got Mighty
yeah,
Blow, which I think is just better, and you've got Regen. I guess he's got Regen. He's got the speed with one wolf, but with your positioning and the fact that you've got the extra strength, you should be able to contain a wolf, a single wolf
yeah,
anyway. Two it gets a bit more
yeah.
difficult.
Well, looking at that, then yeah, I'm minded to take it up another couple of skellies, and if I can put the werewolf on its ass, then I'll just jump up and down on it until I can take it out of the game.
Yeah, he needs
And then
to.
and then there's no pace threat there.
Yeah, he's like playing protect the president because if that wolf goes down and he gets taken out, I don't think
Yeah,
he can win.
yeah,
I'm going to predict 2-1 here to you.
Yeah, funny enough, that's what I just wrote down for myself as well.
Yeah. Sirius will score. The way
Yeah.
he plays, even if it's like a 3% chance, he'll score that because he'll click the button that he needs to. Whereas most coaches will be like, "Oh, that's not optimal. I'm not going to go for that." Sirius will be
Yeah.
like, "That could work." Boom.
Well, that you know me, that's the kind of way I play as well. Is
Yeah.
I
I've
might pull it
still,
off. It's a clutch play. You're still thinking about that Bretonian pass, aren't you?
I've still not fucking recovered from our Nurgle versus Bert's game 2 years ago now. It was
Yeah.
2 years ago. It was game one, Death of the Pitch, season one, against my fucking Nurgle. And I still can't believe the amount of bullshit you pulled off in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm paying for it ever since because all of those sixes, they were all of my sixes for my life. I feel that were
You
rolled in that
only
game.
rolled two, but
Yeah, but what a two to roll!
yeah, that's true.
That pass play was
You did it twice,
insane.
though. You did it
Yeah,
twice. That was the thing
yeah,
that
yeah,
pissed me off. Anyway, well, let's
yeah.
not go back onto that because I've already paid for the therapy.
You need therapy.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to say 2-1. I think Magic could upset you here if you don't take the wolf out. I don't think he buys a ghoul. I just don't think he rates them, and I don't think they're the most amazing ball carrier in the game. I do think they're the best ball carrier that Undead and Necro get. I think the wolves need to be used differently.
Yeah.
Then we've got final game of the week. The Wieners. Oh, this is going to be a fucking banger. Neither of these teams have lost. It's the Wieners versus the Sore Asses. So should we look at the Wieners first?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got a Yeti with Guard. That'll be nice. We have a Berserker with Mighty Blow. That'll be nice. We've got a Blodge Runner. That'll be nice. We've got a Dodge Ulf. So I think he's going down the long term. He's rolled a double there, hasn't he? So he's going down, right, I want this long term. I want the piece to be alive. So if I take the Dodge now, get a block on it next. A Blodge Strength 4 Mighty Blow Frenzy piece is difficult to deal with.
It takes the risk out of some of that frenzy getting dragged out of shape because at least you've got a little bit of resilience in there.
Yeah, if he gets another double sidestep and just really pisses everyone off.
Yeah.
Then you've got Lyman, block tackle. You've got Lyman plus movement. A couple more normal ones. And then we've got a casualty here. So we'll have a loner. But to be honest, block loner pieces are great. As long as you don't roll one, they're fine.
Yeah, I was going to say, you shouldn't need a re-roll, should you? So,
I had two in my Death on the Pitch game this week. I had two loner Longbeards. I blocked with them every single turn, and they didn't roll a skull. And he's against Skanks. So 10-8. Oh, what's the TV difference? So, the lizards are actually bigger. Now,
but with nothing in the bank anyway.
Nothing in the bank. So they're down a player. He's gone for a third reroll. So he had the decision whether he goes for bench or a third reroll. I don't hate the fact he's gone for the reroll. He's got a block Saurus, which will be good. He's got Mighty Blow, and against AV7 will be good. He's got a Blodge Skink. He's got a Sidestep Skink, and he's got Guard here as well. So that front line,
solid, isn't it?
Yeah, you can have 3 Strength 5 pieces effectively. So the Norse win, I think. This is a fucking hard one. This is a really hard one to predict, actually, because in the absolute fight, what is better? Is it better to have a lot of rerolls and higher strength, and obviously high armor, or is it better to have block? I'm not sure I know the answer, because when I play Norse,
neither do I. And it could so easily go the other way. I mean, when I've played Norse, AV7 has completely killed me.
Yeah.
You'll be all right for sort of 3 or 4 turns, and they just fold like wet paper.
Yeah, that's my experience as well.
I'm going. Fuck me, it's tough, isn't it? I don't want to sit on the fence. I want to pick a winner though. I'm going to go 2-1 to I'm going 2-1 to the Lizards.
Yeah. Oh, this is tough because I don't really want to pick Crespo because he'd never fucking let me forget about it. I'm going to pick D10. And I think it is exactly what you've just laid out there. The Norse are either going to fold or they're going to dominate. That's the only 2 options. And I think a lot of block. He's got block tackle to deal with that skink. Deaton's a very good coach. Not that Crespo's bad, but
Yeah.
Deaton will pick the right angles to go in. So Crespo needs to keep focus for the whole game, because if he's not and he plays a turn lazily, he's just going to get ripped apart, because Deaton plays his turn slow, but he knows exactly what he's doing and what he wants to achieve. If Crespo's just moving pieces for the sake of moving pieces, he's just going to get ripped apart very quick. And obviously, neither coach is going to have bench for this. So the casualties that they're going to stick. So I'm going to say the Norse, but I wouldn't be surprised. And I'm going to say 1-0.
No.
I think it's going to be really close. I don't think there's going to be any.
I think it's definitely, I think it's going to be a nip and tuck game.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if the score's a defensive score.
Yeah.
Because I think you're gonna be hard to run around the Lizards. Your best bet is when they're trying to push through, getting in at the ball, and then half of their defensive line's gone. And it's almost the same thing for Noah. I think that's why I score like most of my touchdowns in general, not just this season. I tend to score more on defense than I do offense, and I don't know why. Maybe I'm just a bad player, but yeah, that's kind of how it works out.
Cool.
Brill. I think that's it. Is there anything else we can cover?
I don't think so. I think that's the lot.
Brill. Well, in that case, then, thank you, Uber, again for
no
doing
problem,
the show. Really enjoyed doing it with you. Guys, we're going to look at this solution around new teams coming in and how to build for next season and things. If anyone has any thoughts, now's a really good time to share them with us. I might even set up a little section in our Discord, so if anyone has any ideas on how to do it.
Not a bad shout, so they don't get lost in the broader chat then, is it?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Crespo, if you could please stop commenting in the announcements like every fucking time, man. I don't know how many times I've told you, stop commenting in the announcements. I'm not good enough at Discord to take away that permission. Well played to everyone. Everyone got all their games played this week. Well done to everyone sticking it out with really shitty bashed up teams. Appreciate it. And good luck to everyone for the rest of the season and the playoffs. I'll speak to you all soon.
Yeah. Good luck all.